Salam alaikum, kif halek, kaifakum shlonek, shalom, merhaba, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste, privyet, bonjour, buongiorno, saludos, hola, dag, haj, barav, yak, shemash. Je suis Ali, Anna Alex. I'm the CEO of Orga Oshi Capital Management. Shout out to my partner, Ronnie Brewer, BTS. Couldn't do it without you. And I'm an electronic dance music DJ. Jumping right in. Artificial intelligent man-made ship, first of its kind to launch dozens of drones. How incredible, right? Love the military industrial complex. Too bad it's China's. Anybody else seem to have an issue with that? Along with China continuously aggravating verbally with Taiwan rhetoric and Solomon Island. Ring a bell, people? Quick lesson. If you're an American, no bueno, not good. It just goes to show the de-dollarization project of 2014, Russia, China, those amendments really have done well, because Russia and China are making sure the digital yuan, with the modern day Mao, I would argue the most evil human being on the earth, who I argue put those lockdowns in place not only to slow down the supply chain of America, hence why we have a Tampax shortage, just in case some of you all needed to know that. The supply chain issues, etc. I believe this man is just sitting there plotting to take over the world like Dr. Evil, except he's actually evil, so not as funny. And we are just watching the show begin. Fed Reserve again, hiking rates. What is that going to do? That's going to cause the 30-year fixed and other rates to go up. It's also going to cause your credit card APR to go up, because it makes the banks have to pay a higher borrowing rate, and then thus your APR goes from 18 to 21. There was an article this week that I was reading that was trying to encourage people to get a zero APR credit card. First off, those don't exist except for maybe 5 days. And by the time you're ready, I suppose, to cancel your subscription, you're already sucked in, and the APR is probably at 30. By the way, Nostrovia. Not good. What are we going to do when the Fed shrinks the balance sheet? Are we going to see private equity funds with the mortgage-backed securities? I still want to know what we're going to do with that. And again, stop saying the damn Fed prints the money. That's not true. The Treasury does. And as disappointed as I am with the Carlyle Group and Jerome Powell, it is what it is. Let's look at what China's doing, because he has got nothing to do with that. However, Americans seem to care more about anything other than that. But Taiwan sovereignty, we didn't protect Hong Kong, and look at what's going on. And by what's going on, I mean the digital yuan being prepared to be rolled out and beta tested from the form of dining to entertainment. And we're just going to allow semiconductors and the people of Taiwan to not have any advocacy. Singapore is arguably one of our biggest allies in relations to weapons. So let's get it together, because I'm quite frightened, in quotation marks, about the possibilities. And it's very interesting, because Israel and India are playing it very, very smart. They're the two emerging markets I'm very much betting on. India and China are buying Russian oil, and they're buying it cheaper, and they're buying the amount the European Union was purchasing. So doesn't look like the sanctions did anything but self-harm and the people who've put them out to begin with. And also show the world that the dollar is not worth relying on. 80% of central banks are looking now at central bank digital currencies. That is not the same thing as blockchain technology, FYI. So blockchain technology is peer-to-peer transactions verified on a ledger, can't be manipulated, and it is decentralized, meaning there is no third party needed. A central backed digital currency, you need the central bank. Therefore, it is not a blockchain decentralized piece of technology. It's a different piece of technology. You have central bank digital currency, and then you have cryptocurrency, decentralized blockchain. And I could argue, and I think many of you in this space that have been in this space as long as I have, which makes me feel super old, would argue the same thing. Even some of the newer shit coins have been created with a more centralized premise. Nonetheless, here we are. So it's going to be very interesting to see the race to the central bank digital currency. I know South Korea's, of course, Japan's beta tested and whatnot. But back to the 30-year fix. So when the Feds hike rates, and again, Barclays says 0.75, I'm going to say 0.5. There's no way that they, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, and hold me accountable if I'm wrong, I just don't see them shocking the market, being that 401ks are looking like 201ks with about, I want to say 19, don't quote me, but fact check the fuck out of me, 19 of some of the top stocks have lost about 60% in value. That would be many people holding them that probably have no idea. Non depende vi se ne sente spree pour les gens dans Amérique. And so we are looking at a completely different world setup. As someone who loves triangular arbitrage and hypothetically, allegedly, the ability to go in between foreign exchange markets and digital markets and cross-trade exchange for profit, super duper fun times. For people that don't know how to look into a foreign exchange market or a digital market, not even because you're trying to preserve purchase power, which you should be trying to do right now. If you don't know what that means, you want the bang for your buck. We're seeing stagflation. And I have been talking about this for over a year now, maybe even 2, saying we're going to see shrinkflation and stagflation, which is stagnation and inflation mixed. How creative, right? So high unemployment. So like I said, Steve Jobs to no jobs, and rising costs. Not a good look. And then a potential war with Taiwan. If that modern day Mao does not STFU, if I were president, maybe I should just go ahead and announce my candidacy. Yeah, based on some of you who have shared my videos, I believe I would have extraordinary funding, and we would be sending a form of love from Lockheed Martin signed with my name on it. Because the ability for them to just sit and shit talk is mind-blowing. And Bloomberg markets have not opened, so again, here we are with me being another knockoff, bootlegged Bloomberg trying to talk. I know Australia shocked the world this past week by raising rates higher than was expected, and people really, really, really get super passionate about this. I don't know why. Is there a sports book? Is there something I'm missing out on when it comes to rate hike betting? Because I don't know. I do think the Federal Reserve is going to get quicker when it comes to rate hikes. I cannot wait to see the stress test results. And again, I think they come out the 23rd of June. And again, that's going to show, I want to say 30 banks they did the stress test. I need a stress test just because watching from a macro level is insanity. But nonetheless, the stress test for the banks that will be able to lend and perform well in an economic depression, recession. I think we could have a liquidity crisis coming, bank runs, all that jazz. I do believe the microeconomic mecca is going to be the Middle East. SoftBank Masa is an extraordinary investor. The SoftBank Vision Fund for Saudi Arabia and America Arabia, Batmana Salam al-Kil, and the Trans-Arabian Pipeline, where you have Israel, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. That's the biggest, it's the shortest transport of oil in the Middle East. And we have the Abraham Accords with the Emirates, Morocco, USA, and Bahrain, which is extraordinary. I'm so excited. I've never been more excited. That microeconomic plan, especially with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is going to bring a lot of money to the Gulf and protect the ports from China. So the Middle East is going to be very strategic in what I could argue is China taking over. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be correct in this space because I just don't want to. I do want to know what you all think in the C-section below. Do we think China is an existential threat? What do you guys think about the 2014 de-dollarization project of China and Russia? What do you guys think about China stockpiling grain by 2021, December? Knowing that Hungary and the Ukraine are the exporters. What do you all think about the semiconductor shortage and China really fucking with the US between the Solomon Islands and Taiwan? Are they just talking or do they want to act? And if so, what type of military response? Are we going to have politicians that are ready to go? Or are we going to just sit back? I'm very curious to know people's responses to this, which is why I had to make a totally different one. I also want to thank all of the mentors, because they're all men, never women, all men, from every equity fund, from every financial institution, Goldman Sachs, Point72, Blackstone, BlackRock, Millennium, gosh, the amount of the Oak Tree Capital, Howard Marks, oh my gosh, brilliant investor, brilliant contrarian. Well done with Evergrande, those 2 distressed properties in February. Round of applause, sir. I'm so encouraged. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Private Bank, JP Morgan Chase. The way that JP Morgan is set up reminds me of the Holy Trinity because it's so complex and confusing. I'm just honored. Barclays. When I get on and I look at my stats and I see where you all are watching from, je suis heureux. I don't know where I went correct in life, but I'm so honored to be just in this space, to be new in this space as an emerging manager, and to have such love and encouragement from men. I love the institutional banking industry. Are you kidding me? Love the private equity space. I'm having the time of my life. And everyone seems to really like a girl that loves quantitative order book analysis in relation to trading and likes a data junkie and a voracious, gregarious reader. So, or I guess a voracious reader with a gregarious personality, but nonetheless, who also loves her some tech. And so if you are a developer, also drop in the C section or DM me, because I'm looking for someone that's good in C++. I think I just added too many pluses, but whatevs. Java, not just Python, because we definitely need to work on some things together. But as someone that's in the fintech space and traditional equities, CME, there we go. By the way, gas just hit $5. So for those who've longed oil, Mazel Tov, L'chaim, Nostrovia. Keep crushing it. But thank you for all the support. I can't believe Bridgewater, that's another one. I just keep looking at my stats and thinking, what in the world? And yeah, I look forward to seeing the Fed and what they're going to do with rates. I look forward to seeing the housing bubble burst as a contrarian, super exciting for myself. 1.1 revolving debt, 500 billion. My mind's blown. And a potential war. So I know what's interesting is this hasn't happened before. The Great Depression didn't hit. We were not actively in a war, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, maybe we were. I don't think so, though. We definitely didn't have China this aggressive, or at least a social media televised version of modern day Mao. So I'm interested to know what you all's thoughts are. Where do you see this economy heading aside to hell? And what country do you believe is going to come out top? The dollar needs to be backed by something. And I don't know, have we even audited Fort Knox? Might be a good time to do so. Just saying. Make something up. This is why I believe when the Fed Reserve begins to sell mortgage-backed securities, they should work with the banks to do some sort of swap. That way, market goes down, the banks still have actual valuation based on real estate, even though the Fed's going to be lowering the valuation of real estate when they start selling the MBSs. But then the banks, even if they crash based on stocks, will still have actual value. And due to the foreclosure rate being up 132% plus, with over 56,000 homes in foreclosure, and lumber being at its lowest because, again, no one wants to build now, being that mortgage demands are at a 22-year low. Big Short 2.0 coming soon. A female version of Michael Burry, another brilliant man. Bill Gross. Oh yeah, PIMCO, another brilliant man. I'm so honored. I love you all. Thank you. Shukran, merci, gracias. Avec mon cœur, thank you so much for just believing in me, being kind. And let me say this. There's been nothing more emboldening than having all of these brilliant-minded mentors be so loving and gracious and kind to share all of your knowledge with me as a woman. So I am gracious. I look forward to working with you all. And habak shatim te amo. And oh yeah, merch dropping soon. Anti-social media valuation contrarian club. And habak shatim te amo. Bisu bisu bachi. Ronnie and I look forward to doing so much with you all with Orca during the year of the contrarian. God bless.